Welcome to the ESPN of Sci-Fi, TheAquaPhi, your entertainment science fiction programming network, entertainment sci-fi programming network. And welcome. And this time today, we're going to talk about how to get under space, how to get below the Earth. We'll talk about how to do that. And once we finish talking about it, then we're going to be able to actually do it. Buenos dias. Bonjour. Good morning. Zao sheng hao. Ohayou gozaimasu. Zao an. Aquify, the Aquafy, PHII for book 2 is under space. The Aquify goes under space. How do you get there? Well, right now, all we're able to see when we talked about in one of the other podcasts, if you missed it, you go back and listen to it. And you listen to that, then you can come back to this one and connect the two. All we're able to do from the days of stargazing was gaze upwards. Then we invented telescopes to look further upwards. More powerful telescopes, the more we can see stars group and become galaxies. Then we have names that we've given to the galaxies. Andromeda galaxy, right? And we are in the solar system. Why is that? Why is our system called solar? Well, because the sun rules, right? The sun has the power in this system. And sometimes you think it's cold and there's no sun. Cold doesn't even exist, right? When you go to school and the science class tells you that there's no such thing as cold, it doesn't exist because cold has to be manufactured in a science lab. So what we have then is heat. You can always say I'm hot. It's hot because the sun rules in our system. It's a solar system where the sun rules. So because we're in the solar system, we're looking upward, seeing the sun. Going underneath the Earth, are we getting too far away from the sun where it's too cold to travel? That could be a thought, could be an idea, could be a concept. Maybe if we go beneath the Earth, because the Earth is positioned so many miles away from the sun in order to be just right, in order to have your seasons, in order to have growth of vegetables, plants, and everything we need to live. The distance from the sun is accurate. Now, going underneath the Earth, is it going too far from the sun and freezing? But now we could say the same thing because when we're flashing upwards, right, the rocket goes up, are we getting too close to the sun that way? Doesn't seem to, because we went up several times and we came back down. So going away from the sun, going down wouldn't be neither. And down underneath the Earth, going into another system, as to where below the Earth does it becomes another system. It's no longer a solar system, or perhaps it's another sun underneath the Earth that controls that system. Things that we need to find out, things that we need to see. And the way we travel now with launching upwards and the rocket boosters and the power we have is to go straight forward. And it's controlled by not only all the mechanisms and gears inside of the rocket itself, but it's controlled by NASA. NASA on the ground is controlling it, right? So take all your NASA gear inside of NASA and all the equipment that's inside the rocket, put it in one vessel. And that one vessel is called the Aqua Phi. Plus more. Plus the ability to maneuver quickly. So the Aqua Phi not only goes up straight forward, but also can turn around and go beneath and keep going beneath the Earth. While our rockets can't do that. All we do is go straight. Or we can orbit, right? Controlled by NASA. So you consider when you're driving your car and you're driving at 65, 70 miles per hour, 75 miles per hour, or like some of us, 90 miles per hour. And well, don't say that too loud, but that's, yeah, it's only being realistic. So you're maneuvering for that speed, right? Let's say we're doing 90 and a vehicle, oh, that's not, okay, so we're doing 75 and 75, wink, wink. And the vehicle in front of us, so we're maneuvering, changing lanes. How quickly am I going to get to this other vehicle ahead of me doing 75? I need to change lanes now, slow, whatever. So we're maneuvering for that speed that we're traveling in, time, distance, speed. At 800 miles per hour, here comes a comet. It's not coming, we're coming towards it, maneuvering for 800 miles per hour, time, distance, speed. Aquify plunges below the Earth, and that navigation system picks up everything. Is there a comet too close? Is there another planet too close? Is there a sun it picks up and it maneuvers at 1,500 miles per hour for that, for those things in the cosmos beneath the Earth? And so that's what it's going to take. It's going to take that navigation system to go below the Earth in the Aquify sci-fi. Realistically, you're going to need, but for real world, let's say for real world with NASA and so forth, telescopes that see upward put still sci-fi, but put a mirror object so that the telescopes will pick off that mirror object picks up what's beneath the Earth. So now we're able to see everything beneath the Earth every time we look into this specialized telescope mirror. Then we can see how close the next planet is, how many planets there are, what the galaxies are, where the sun is, the stars are, and we can start calculating, right? It's like the ladies that calculated for the astronauts to go out in space can now calculate for us to navigate below the Earth. Now that's what it's going to take to go below the Earth in our real world. Now the Aquify can already do it. Finish reading Aquify book 1, and then book 2 we'll do it together in the Aquify PHII Under Space is already doing it. So we'll do it together. But in real life, we'll need that calculation. Now the Aquify also has the power to get back to Earth. Coming from outer space, we have the power to get downwards into Earth, but do we have the power to go back up to Earth? The Aquify does. So there's another calculation. How much in fuel, how much in power, in boosters are we going to need to go upwards towards the Earth? That's your calculation we will do after, right? After we put the mirror out there, the telescoping off of that mirror object, looking below the Earth and seeing what's there. After we do that, right? And then getting the NASA ladies together and for them to calculate that for us. Here's what we're going to need to do. Then we'll be able to do it realistically. But for now, go into theaquaphi.com under space. Look in the Aquify merchandise. You'll see that poster that says under space. That under space poster, check more info, check here, takes you to Redbubble. you'll get all the gear that has to do with underspace. Your underspace cap, your underspace t-shirt, your underspace coffee mug or cup, or your underspace plate. There's even an underspace clock. Get your underspace clock, right? Well, or yeah, and then surround yourself with underspace gear so that when book 2 comes out, underspace, you're ready to go under space. While you're waiting for NASA and the company to figure out how to look underneath space, you can already do it with the Aquify by going in there and purchasing all the Aquify gear having to do with the underspace. So that's what's going to be necessary to go beneath the Earth. And there isn't a calculation about freezing going too far from the sun, because could be a sun under space. How far is it from the Earth? Let's get the telescope and mirror out there and we can calculate that. We can figure that out and start naming the stars and galaxies in underspace. Real time. But in the Aquify time, we're going to do that in a couple months when the Aquify book 2 comes out. So let's do it together. You and I, we will do this together and go beneath the Earth and venture where nobody's ever ventured before. No sci-fi adventure has ventured before. We will be the first ones to do that. So follow us in Facebook. Matter of fact, when you go into TheAquaPhi.com, go all the way at the very bottom of the page, and you'll see talks about me, talks about the author, and gives you more about the book as well. I've mentioned in the first podcast why I decided to write this book. If you miss it, you can go back and that's why you subscribe. This way you have all the podcasts and you can go back and listen to anytime you want to. But go to the very bottom of the page, aquafy.com, and you'll see that we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us, subscribe, purchase your book, and subscribe. Follow us, and every new podcast you'll be kept to alert. Our subjects are always fresh and interesting, talking about things nobody's ever talked about, going places where people haven't gone. Even the first, The Aqua Phi, goes where nobody's ever gone. And now in book 2, we're going places where nobody's ever gone. And we're talking about things that need to be talked about. So let's talk about the next podcast. Let's talk about the next, just like that, the next, exactly that, the next. Who is the next Iron Man? Who is the next Thor? Who is the next Captain America? We'll talk about the next. We talked about the next 007. If you missed that, so you know, it's one of the other podcasts to go back and listen to that, and then we're good. And yeah, catch up on that one, and then we'll talk about the next Thor, next Iron Man, next Captain America, and who is it going to be? Interesting subject. We'll talk about it next.